Hey guys, I am here today with this. This is the 2025 Kia Sorento Hybrid. Let's get into it. So the Kia Sorento has been around for a while. I drove one of the earliest versions. You can see my video here. But this is the plug-in hybrid version, which adds a whole other element to this equation that gives you a couple pros and a couple of cons. We'll obviously talk through those. Let's get into it. No, my dog isn't dead. She's just incredibly stubborn. So I tried to move her, but she keeps coming back. So we're just gonna leave her there. So you see the Kia Sorento and you think, oh, that's a decent size SUV. That's kind of a normal SUV. It's not enormous. Which is why it's interesting that there's a third row in this. You don't expect it. When they delivered this car to me, I was like, all right, Kia Sorento, I know this car, no problem. I turned around and I was like, three row, forgot about it. And you can easily forget about the third row back there in the way that this car feels, which is very, very nice. This makes it a competitor to, of course, the Telluride, its older brother, and other things like the Mazda CX-90, who's my friend as well. We'll talk about that in a minute, but also the ever popular Toyota RAV4 plug-in hybrid that has its issues too. And then if you need the third row, you're obviously looking at the Toyota Highlander. Let's dig into this third row a little bit. Okay, to get in it, we're gonna throw the seats easy, kind of nice. But because these are captain's chairs, the idea is you won't necessarily need to put the seat down. Thus, I am going to give you guys the world's worst view and have me get in the back here. So there is a button back here to put the seats down, the second row. So I can go like that and like this. Move it, princess. Of course, she's here thinking she's getting into the car. You're not getting into the car. So now here we are in the third row. This is a third row. This is a third row for two people. Maybe you guys saw the ID Buzz was recalled because the National Highway Traffic Safety Association decided there could be three people in the third row of the ID Buzz. This would not nobody would think you can put three people back here. Are these three people going to be comfortable? Not particularly, guys. This is a third row for a jam. For kids, I'm a firm believer in kids don't need comfort, frankly. Yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinion about that, but I think kids are fine. They're resilient. You toss them in the third row. You've got a seatbelt, you're fine. How are they going to be back here? Well, we've got a USB-C charger, so they'll be happy because as long as they have their phones charged, nobody's going to whine. There's a window here, fantastic. We've got a little cup holder, and again, will it hold a Stanley? Yes, but probably not a bigger water bottle with a bigger base. There's also another little place to put things here. I love just commenting that, in my house I would definitely be full of dog hair. That's a whole other story. Could you put a dog back here? Really good question. I think so. My Great Dane was very comfortable sitting here and then putting her paws forward. So if you're a Dane owner, there's that. I really like how the seatbelts are done back here because even if you don't use it very often, the third row seatbelts are easy to find. It also helps that there's this enormous panoramic sunroof to give you a little bit more air back here. Speaking of air, do we have vents? No. Oh, so irritating to me that there aren't additional vents. Yes, the vents to the rear seats are in the center there, so I think conceptually it should bring air back here. But if that's a concern for you, or you live in like Arizona or Nevada and you do a lot of carpool and you're worried about the kids frying in the third row, I would certainly test that out during your test drive. Okay, safety suite. Forward collision avoidance, rear cross traffic avoidance assist. Great. It actually was could see more than I could, which is always a good sign. Safe exit assist, which, you know, if it seems somebody coming and knows I'm in park and I'm about to open my door, it's going to go bang, 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 which is really great. I mean, listen, as much safety assistance as we can get without it really making us crazy, let's take it. Lane keep assist, all of that was great when I was on the freeway and was using the adaptive cruise control. I found that to be fantastic. Again, that's a little bit different in this Prestige trim than it is in the lowered trim. So if that's important to you, be sure that you check that to make sure that you're getting what you're paying for. So I'm trying to shoot this video and she won't go away. So you're probably going to see a lot of Great Dane because she just doesn't want to leave this car. I don't know what that's about. Okay, under the hood, we've got a 1.4 liter GDI engine and 2 electric motors. That's producing 261 horsepower and 258 foot-pound of torque. That's about 30 horsepower more than the regular hybrid. And this also can run up to roughly 32 miles on electricity only. Since she won't go away, I'm just going to leave her here. For some reason, she's sort of attached to this car. I'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so in terms of the drive, we've got a 6-speed automatic transmission that has paddle shifters, fun. We've got a couple of drive modes that I'll show you. And it has a towing capacity of roughly 1,500 pounds. Other elements of the drive that are worth noting, I found that the interaction between the electric motors and the regular engine was seamless. I really, half the time, really forgot that I was driving a plug-in hybrid, which is always a good sign, honestly. And because I was getting over 30 miles to the gallon, you know, that just sort of happening and being a nice convenience is wonderful. I did not let the battery run all the way to the end. I actually couldn't, like it kept regenerating, so I didn't have that problem. But I have heard others say that once the battery is gone, you don't notice a big difference. Meaning, if you forget to charge a battery and it runs out, you're not going to be left with a dud of a vehicle. I've driven a few cars that have that issue. Sometimes it does that. You hear that? It'll be idling with the electric motors, and then every once in a while it decides that's enough, and it will turn on the gas-powered engine, which is just saving efficiencies, which is great. One thing that I found troublesome during the drive are these rear view mirrors. So let me show you why. Do you see this? This little ribbing here? Sometimes out of the corner of my eye, because there's a gap here, you'd see this, and sometimes out of the corner of sometimes in my peripheral vision, I would think that that was something else and a distraction. So I found that annoying. Here we are behind the wheel. When you turn on the car, you're not going to notice because the engine isn't going to turn on. It's just going to use the electric motors most of the time. So, but when you put it in reverse, and don't miss, of course my dog is still here. She didn't move. I swear I could probably just start backing up and she won't move. So let's try that in a sec. That'll be funny. God bless her. But again, notice my mirrors. They're fantastic. You can hear that humming if I'm quiet for a minute. Right? You hear that? That's the, those are the electric motors and that noise that they make so that people know that we're coming. So if I'm going to back up a little bit, it's just going to stay in electric mode. And she's just going to stay right there. She's not going to move, which is nice. I almost hit my tripod, which isn't that nice, but whatever. It's all very smooth and quiet because of these electric motors. Really, really great. Again, seamless interaction. You're going to forget you have these electric motors, so don't forget to charge it because it is kind of nice to give you a little extra oomph. Putting it in park, you're going to turn off the car But then it's going to keep all this on until you exit the vehicle, right? Then it turns off, which is nice because then you can make sure you've got everything that you need and everything is under control. It also gives you an alert to make sure you haven't forgotten anything, which I appreciate. What is this car like to drive? I found that the drive was better than I expected. You can certainly feel that there are two electric motors in this because it feels a little heavier than the regular Sorento, which it is. But that heft actually helped it handle a little bit better than how I normally experience the Sorento. Like I said, there are drive modes. We've got an Eco, Sport, Snow, and then Smart. I found that unlike most vehicles that I drive, I didn't enjoy the Sport mode as much in this vehicle as I found the Eco mode. It was very smooth. The shifting was wonderful. Listen, does it have a lot of get up and go? Not really. Like the 0 to 60 time in this is kind of abysmal, but that's not why you buy a Kia Sorento. Why do you buy a Kia Sorento? Because it's fuel efficient, you can get a lot of people in it, and it's compact for a 3-row SUV. Let's get into that. Let's talk a little bit more about how it feels behind the wheel here. I just want you to note my panoramic roof. It's only opening to like here, which is fine. You don't really want it to open the whole way, but it's great when you have people in the back to have that light. And also it has a full shades. I'm just showing you. Okay, there it goes. And then, yay! The reason I love this is because a lot of automakers these days are just tinting the glass and not including the actual fabric. So it gets, if you live in a hot climate, it can get really, really hot back there, particularly if you've got a 3rd row. Nobody likes that. Generally, you don't think of Kia as being very driver focused, which is why I appreciated a few of the details in this vehicle once I kind of unpacked them. I really liked the control knob for the shifter. I think that was great. But the other thing that they did is after you start the car, your climate controls are right here. Like I would turn this on, it just happened to be unreasonably cold here in Southern California. I mean, of course, for me that's 40, but yeah, whatever. So I turn on the car, but right after I put it into gear and I'm about to back up, I found that the seat warmer was right there. And the steering wheel warmer was right there. So I didn't have to look around or use my left. It was all right here, which I thought was very intuitive. Speaking of putting it into gear and backup, I really love the backup camera. Its quality is just as good as a premium vehicle. Is it high definition? Maybe not, but it was really exceptional. So that is also worth noting. So what is it like driving this? The steering wheel is incredibly intuitive. On the left, I've got all my entertainment controls. On the right, I've got my driver assistance stuff. Even if you're not used to using driver assistance, all of the symbols make a lot of sense. Like, you know what cruise control symbol looks like. You know that, you know, the steering wheel with 2 signs like this, that's going to be your lane keep assist. So don't text me later and say, why is my steering wheel shaking? That's that button. You can handle that. I say that because people do it all the time, I swear. Okay, panoramic sunroof, love it, right? And it actually is operable. This will be fun because I just washed the car, so water might fall on my head right now. No, hooray! I did notice that, unlike a lot of other Kia products, this had a little bit of that ear poppiness when I had this open and was driving. I didn't love that, so I had to pop the windows. Fine. Okay, then we've got a charging pad up here for me, 2 USB-C chargers. There's also a little fast charger here, which is really great. All of those things are really well thought through. The cup holders, didn't love them, but that's all right. I'm a little picky about that stuff. We've got this big screen here. Half of that is going to be your digital dashboard. The other half is going to be your entertainment. Your entertainment system is touchscreen essentially only, other than the controls you have on your steering wheel. Touchscreen is the only way you're going to control that. I kind of prefer when some automakers add some extra knobs here so that the person sitting there can do it. But again, if you're a mom, you want more control, not less. So that's certainly something to keep in mind. Front passenger seat, lovely. I mean, it's really nice. If you've got a very tall front passenger, I think you might have some knee issues here because this dash does tend to come forward a little bit. That's not an issue on the driver's side, but certainly on the passenger side, that may be an issue. Lots of vents up front. I really loved the HVAC system in here. It was really, really nice. Here in the front passenger seat, you don't have a lot of control over the entertainment system because of this curved screen here. You can see it, but you can't. It's not necessarily that intuitive for you to touch it, nor are there buttons here for you to access. You can control the HVAC here with these buttons, but essentially the entertainment is under the driver's control. As a mother, this is something that I can appreciate. These have a little electric assist with them, which is kind of nice. It makes it all a little bit easier. Although, if you don't want the electric assist, it's annoying because you can't really do anything without it. So keep that in mind. Once it gets going, it's fine, but there you go. Okay, second row. You know, it has these really great armrests that are adjustable. And you know your kids, do you hear this noise? They're gonna do this all day long, you know, right? I mean, it's so satisfying. I would do it all day long. It's so much fun. Anyway, it's got this sort of ratchet thing going on with the armrest that everybody's gonna wanna do. Whatever, it's fine. There are worse things they could be doing in your car, for sure. Seats are adjustable in the back seat. So listen, these are captain's chairs. Are they comfortable? Uh-huh. Should they be? Yup. Because you're paying extra for that. The seatbelts also have this funny little elastic with the on the receiving end of the seatbelt to hold them in place when you're not using them, which is kind of a funny little thing, but I like it. Leg room. I'm 5'6", taller than your average woman. I'm comfortable here. I think this is fine. This guy has his chair back because you know my husband has to do that. Am I happy here? Yeah, no, this is great. Little arm, you know what people call that. Put in the comments if you know what people call this. There's a little hook here for, I guess, dry cleaning. Do people still do that? I don't know, whatever. Cup holders. This is my thing. There's a cup holder in the door. It's not a particularly large cup holder. There's also a bottle opener here, but these are very confined, which is a little bit frustrating. Because I have the fancy trim, there are also seat warmers that you can do here. You're controlling your window there, fine. And they're also built-in window shade, great. Panoramic sunroof is making me feel like it's bigger back here. Love that. Again, I think if you have people in the third row, they're going to be fighting over these two kind of measly vents. That's enough, not enough venting for me. We've got a plug back here, 12 volt, great. Where are your USB-C? Exactly. This is a funny little quirk that Kia does and Genesis does it too. The plug is right here on the front passenger and the driver's side as well. So if you're looking for that, don't go crazy. They do exist. They're just a little funky to find. We've also got the Bose sound system in this trim, which is actually very good. And this is very comfortable. It should be noticed that the floor is not entirely flat. There's a hub here that is also raising the rear seat. But overall, great back seat. All right, let's check out the back end. As always, I'm going to show you guys how to get in here. And as always, I'm going to get a little annoyed because, I mean, to me, it seems kind of logical that it would be here, but it's not. It's here. Fine. That's where it is. Power lift gate, love it. Fantastic. Again, you've got your buttons here, which is great, but it's also got a handle. The back end in this, because of this third row, is small. Don't be thinking you're going to do a whole thing of carpool. You're going to take the football team and get everybody's gear back here. You're not. And you're not going to stop at, you know, Costco on the way home from carpool with a bunch of kids in here either, unless you want them putting toilet paper on their laps, which I'm not, you know, above. Absolutely. But what I did like about this, to be honest with you, is I think the trunks these days are so huge. And if you have a third row vehicle and you have the seats back and you get a couple groceries, you don't want everything rolling around. I found that just 5 shopping bags fit nicely back here, which is great. So I don't know, figure out that works for you. You've got your charger, your home charger, which is lovely, fantastic with the adapter. There's no spare in here, guys. Automakers have stopped doing that, so don't go looking for it. They give you a kit, that's what they do. There's also a little slot here to put stuff, and then they've got this, which you can't open and shouldn't open because there's probably a battery in there. All right, so back here you've got your home charger. Underneath, you don't have much, guys. There's no spare. They don't do that anymore. Automakers in general don't do that anymore. They give you a kit, and then there is like a pocket down here to put stuff. I don't know where you're going to put back there, but there it is. Is this the most exciting back end I've ever explored? There are so many jokes. Go ahead, put them in the comments. I can take it. No, but it'll do. And for an SUV this size to have a third row is kind of remarkable anyway. So take what you can get. Be happy. Let me know what you think of that back end in the comments. So what's the verdict? No, she hasn't moved. It's crazy. Compared to a few of its competitors, there are a few reasons you're going to want to go for the Kia Sorento. If you want to stay in the Kia family, you know, versus the Telluride definitely drives like a bigger vehicle. And the hybrid has just come out, so the plug-in hybrid option is going to be, you know, here in the Sorento. In terms of a driver's car, I prefer the Mazda CX-90, but the creature comforts inside the Kia really can't be beat because it really has a lot of comfortable elements that Kia has thought through really, really well. But again, I enjoy the drive a little bit more in the CX-90. So if that's important to you, keep that in mind. Versus the RAV4 hybrid, boy, it's hard to beat the RAV4 hybrid. But this, there's a lot of great things going on in the Kia Sorento. I think you should absolutely put it on your list. So there you have it, the 2025 Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid all-wheel drive. I'm Motorhead Mama, this is Princess, and we will see you next time. Get up. Can you get up? Come on. Hey guys, I am here today with this. Ow. Hey guys, I am here today with this. Ow. Go away, honey. Princess, out. Sit, Princess. Sit. You're in my... No. You're in my way. No. Princess, you're not a part of this. You're not a part of this. Go away. Oh my God. Gooby, you're a good boy. All right. Is it on? Princess, come here.